Yes, I've been watching this subject for quite some time now, and it appears there have been, unfortunately, some disturbing developments. Well, sir, I'm not really sure how to say this, but he's acquired lethal mommy milkers, assault jugs, high-capacity hooters, combat cans, if you will. We're talking malicious melons. Tactical tits, sir. From what I saw, they were double D60s. I know, sir. I'm concerned as well. All right. Thanks.
Here it comes!
Titties!
Damn, son, are those even legal? Look at the way they bounce. Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Well, hello there. You're probably wondering why I was in the bush like that. Well, it's because I was raised by the bush. One could say I'm a master of the bush. I've been in many bushes before, and I've never gotten burned because I got myself a Bushmaster rifle. Now, this is an XM15, and we're going to shoot it today. Let's f***ing go.
Howdy there, welcome back to another episode of PSR. Today we're looking at a ban-era Bushmaster XM15, a relic of the 1994 to 2004 assault weapons ban. But first, I gotta thank KAK Industry, the channel sponsor for PSR. KAK has held steadfast in supporting me and making this content, even through YouTube unsubscribing and striking me for perfectly compliant videos that don't break their terms of service. You know, sometimes you're compliant and you still get fucked. Isn't that funny? Well, KAK has been around for just over 10 years, making parts right here in the USA for all of your ARs and more. Everything you could possibly want, they got it. And they support the right to make your own firearm. But that's not what we're doing today. We got a semi-automatic guy. It's normal, nothing too crazy. If you want to get 10% off your order at KAK Industry, please never use the code PSR to get 10% off your entire order. That would never be a good idea. Just don't do it. Thank you to KAK for sponsoring this channel. All right, so before we get into the Bushmaster XM15 and what makes this particular one kind of special, let's first talk a little bit about the history of the assault weapons ban here in the United States.
May 5th, 1994.
This afternoon, the House of Representatives rose to the occasion and stood up for the national interest.
The President and those working to ban assault weapons can claim a major victory in Congress.
216 members stood up for our police, our children, and for safety on our streets.
Infratech even boasts some models come with a special coating resistant to fingerprints.
What it says is that the NRA can be beaten.
A few years ago, when you looked at gun issues, it was liberal gun controllers against gun owners, and that wasn't a good equation for people who wanted gun control. When it became the police against the NRA, it was a wholly different issue.
These are military weapons, weapons of war.
They are virtually the same, only cosmetically different.
This clip can be extended to include up to 60 to 90 rounds.
When police officers are outgunned by criminals who continue to have easy and legal access to assault weapons such as these.
The weapon used does not lodge a bullet in the lung, it blows the lung out of the body.
We have suffered a breakdown of family and work and community, and where that vacuum has been filled by guns like this.
Recorded vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 214, and the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion is laid upon the table.
There are some adults that like to go target practice with these things. Well, they need to read a good book.
In 1994, a bunch of senators got together along with Bill Clinton, and really a bipartisan effort was made to enact an assault weapons ban. And this was supported, like I said, by both Republicans and Democrats at the time. And what it did was it banned certain firearms, both by name and by feature. And it went for a period of 10 years, like I said, from 1994 to 2004. Now, we're not going to get into the super nitty-gritty details about the assault weapons ban, but I will go over kind of what it was about and try to explain a little bit of what it was. So what this assault weapons ban did was that it limited certain features that could be put on these rifles. In the context of this video, since we're talking about a rifle, I'm going to just talk about rifles. There were certain things that applied to shotguns and pistols as well, but I'm just going to talk about rifles. So what they did was they took a bunch of features that they listed as these assaulty features, and they said if your rifle has 2 or more of these features, it's considered an assault weapon. The assault weapons ban defined an assault weapon in the context of a rifle as a semi-automatic rifle able to accept detachable magazines and having 2 or more of the following: a folding or a telescoping stock, a pistol grip, a bayonet mount, a flash hider, a grenade launcher, and those were the 5 features that defined your weapon as being an assault weapon. So what it left manufacturers having to do is choose which assaulty feature they wanted to have on the gun. Most of the time they chose the pistol grip. Now, if you live in California, you're probably familiar with some of these ridiculous laws. The assault weapons ban kind of emerged out of California. It's just the assault weapons ban nationally expired in 2004 and California just ended up keeping it. But they have different pieces of their own assault weapons ban. One of them being that you can't even have a normal pistol grip on a semi-automatic firearm if it's a rifle. So that's why you see those Cali ARs with the weird grips and the fin grips. If you want to know more about Cali gun laws, definitely check out Reno May. So with that said, why would I be making a video about a ban-era Bushmaster that has all of these assaulty features? It's got a flash hider, it's got a pistol grip, it's got a telescoping buttstock, it's got a detachable 30-round magazine, and a bayonet lug. Well, this is a cop gun. With assault weapons bans, it only applies to citizens, not police or law enforcement. This was a gun that was perfectly legal for a cop to have.
These are military weapons, weapons of war.
This belonged to a police department of some kind at some point during the assault weapons ban. So the police were allowed to have all of the assaulty features. It is an interesting thing that both in California currently and during the assault weapons ban of 1994 to 2004, cops could have these weapons of war, but citizens couldn't. Just an interesting thing. So why did I pick this up? Well, I thought it would be fun to get this kind of relic from this era. Now, you see a lot of Colt rifles being auctioned off and they'll go for like $900 to like $1,200. They all have the restricted mark stamping on them. And it says restricted government law enforcement use only, which I think is interesting and it's just a piece of history that kind of just existed during this assault weapons ban. One of the reasons why I wanted to get one of these was because of that, and I just thought it would be an interesting thing to have. But also, I've never owned a gas block front sight post AR, and I just wanted one really bad for aesthetic reasons. Now, this is not a Colt, this is a Bushmaster, and the model is a XM15 E2S. So this is the H-bar version of that rifle. So it's got a heavy barrel, it's a 1-in-9 twist 5.56. Picking up one of these, I was kind of shocked at how light it was. It's a 16-inch barrel. Even though it is the H-bar barrel, it feels still pretty dang light for what it is. And I got this for much cheaper than what the Colt ones go for. I was able to score this at an auction site for right around $400. Now, a little bit of history in terms of Bushmaster. So Bushmaster nowadays isn't the company that it used to be. It used to be a very reliable rifle, and I don't know about the newer ones. The newer ones, like very new ones, they have kind of made a resurgence. But back in the day when these were made in Maine, they were made in Windham, Maine, and they had really good reputations as being really solid, reliable rifles. They got bought out by a bigger company, and what ended up happening was just their QC went to crap. But the old owner of that factory in Maine started Windham Weaponry. So if you know Windham Weaponry, you know they have a pretty good reputation for quality, at least as far as I'm concerned. So that's just an interesting tidbit about these older Bushmaster rifles. So getting a rifle from an auction, you don't necessarily know what it's been through, you don't know how many dings it's gotten, and you assume that probably it's been through quite a bit, and this one definitely has too, but it had a H-bar barrel and I knew I could just kind of beat it to crap, and that's kind of what I did. quick reminder, KAK, in addition to sponsoring this channel, they also sent me the ammo used for this particular video. So big shout out to KAK for sending the ammo. Definitely helps me mitigate costs. It's got scuffs and marks, and it's got a little marking as to like what number it was in the police department, which is fascinating. I added the carry handle on here, so it's not a carry handle upper, which would have been more desirable and probably fetched more money in the auction. It would be nice to have a true carry handle upper at some point. The trigger is really nothing to write home about, just a normal AR mil-spec trigger, but let's ghost it anyway. There's nothing in there. Always good to double check. Nice. And the reset. Feels pretty much like a mil-spec trigger would. So I definitely just ran that thing through the ringer at the range, put probably 300 or 400 rounds through it. It did great. It got heated up pretty good, but I had no issues. Still kept being accurate, and man, I had a lot of fun. I also don't mind having the option to throw an optic on it, considering this is a detachable carry handle. Now, one way you can also tell if you have one of these older Bushmasters is their logo changed. I think when they got bought out, their older logo, which is on this, is a bullpup actually, which is kind of funny. A bullpup on their AR-15 logo with the snake on it. Little cool little fact. I just wanted to get a really plain Jane AR, but that had a little bit of a story to it, and that's why I got the restricted marked carbine. So I would say if you want to pick one of these up, they're a great little way to get a piece of history. And with the Bushmaster rifles, I would say they're just as good as the Colt quality, and they're way cheaper, and you can still get that restricted marked lower. I just think it's fun and a cool little bit of history. So in conclusion, did the assault weapons ban of 1994 really make a difference? Well, studies show that it didn't lower the amount of crimes with these particular guns. It actually showed that the guns that were used in most violent crimes were not prohibited assault-style weapons. So take that with what you will, but I don't think it really worked. And I'd be interested to see some of the data for after 2004 till now. We're approaching almost 20 years, can you believe that, of having assault weapons be legal for civilians to own. So it'd be interesting to see the statistics on that period of time from the end of the assault weapons ban till now. Anywho, that's going to be about it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. I always love talking about history, and I enjoy talking about the history of certain guns. This one was interesting to me. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe if you like this content. If not, no worries at all. If you have been subscribed, check to see if you're still subscribed, because YouTube has been unsubscribing people. That's not very nice, YouTube. If you are on the pooper and you're delaying the wipe, thank you for watching the whole episode without wiping. It's time to wipe now. Yes, hygiene is important. Till next time, PSR out.
Damn PSR, you didn't have to go this hard.
So unfortunately, there were a few incidents that made people really afraid of these scary, scary guns. There were a couple of shootings, and the senators and Bill Clinton decided, I don't even know if I should mention the name Clinton, to be honest. It's kind of scary. I kind of don't even want to mention his name.